Come on, everybody, let's start the show. A quick ahoy hoy and away we'll go. Richard's got a minifig and Flynn's got a pin. The gang's all here and it's time to begin. Tricky Brick's roll call. Moto, Holly, Kara, and sometimes Blair, Clicky, Logan, Ms. Thing and Angela, and Thunderman Ho! Now you're here to grab your bricks and let's go to the Tricky Bricks Build and Check Show!
Ahoy, hoy,
ahoy,
friends.
hoy, friends. How's it going? Oh, my goodness. Woo! Well, starting off with like a hair disaster already.
Wow.
Hi, everybody. How's it going? Hope you're having an awesome Sunday. It's a big one today. We got a lot going on, a lot to talk about, a lot of people to talk to. So,
True. We have guests, we got subjects.
Yes.
Topics of discussion. Welcome to Sunday morning, friends.
Hi. Okay, so let's just start inviting people on.
I think we should just go right to that.
We do that, yeah. No need to just sort of noodle around. And I found out recently,
what's that?
When I looked at a map, that I was not altogether wrong. That
in the middle,
that Moto is in the middle left-hand side of the United States. I was not entirely wrong. So from the middle left-hand side of the United States, it's Moto. Hi, Moto.
Yes, I am in the middle, slightly left western side of the United States.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Hey, Blair's here. Hi, Blair. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. And from across the bay, it's
MinifigChick.
Hi,
good morning.
MinifigChick. How's it going? We had a delightful time at AFOL Day yesterday.
Good.
It got some cool stuff. I'm very excited. Didn't get the thing I really, really wanted to leave with, but we can talk about that later.
Oh, but for good reasons.
Yes.
And from the great Pacific Northwest,
it's Holly.
Holly.
Hi, sorry, I clicked the button prematurely. My bad.
Mic check. Is my mic working this week?
Your mic is working. Everything's great.
No major echo happening.
Okay, I didn't change anything, so whatever that was.
Very good. How are you? We didn't get to see you in Chicago, sadly.
I know. Yeah, it was busy. It was a really busy weekend for me here in Portland, though, because I got our screenings off the ground this past weekend. So for VES, so that was a success. We had our first one. We all went and saw Elemental and got to sit in on like a live Q&A with some of the Pixar guys afterwards, and it was a good time.
Oh, cool.
Fun.
That sounds fun. Very cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, we have another special guest panelist today joining us all the way from the other side of the United States. It's Brian Saviano, Bricks O'Brien. Hey, Brian.
Hi. What's going on, everybody? Hello.
Hey, I'm going to have to do this. I'm sorry. I know we all hate this, but it's the only way to fly when you've got this number of people. And actually, we will be having another special guest, perhaps some surprise special guest, but another big special guest right after Logan Cookie Time. And that is Simon Liu, who's going to come and talk about new Hashima, which you're going to hear a lot about in this show.
Funny MinifigChick is showing legs on there because I'm here to tell you, in case there was any doubt, Bricks O'Brien has legs. He's actually a person.
I do.
It's true. He is a fully formed human.
It's not just this. I
not
have
a puppet.
The whole thing. Yeah.
So, okay. Well, first of all, I gotta say, man, Brickworld Chicago was amazing, and also very intense. Like,
I've not recovered yet at all.
I haven't either. What about the rest of y'all who went? Have you recovered yet?
Oh, hell no. Yesterday after we went out to the AFL all day at the Lego store and brunch. I came home and sat in my comfy chair for the next 6 hours and played Zelda And then I made dinner, and then I went to bed, and I slept for like 10 hours.
I feel that. I feel that. Oh, hey, Dawn is here.
Okay.
Dawn, who maybe I'm whoops. Dawn, I need to send you something. I'm gonna do
goodness.
Oh, how cryptic.
that.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Well, I come back from.
Don't worry, Dawn. It's not a horse's head. Or a fish.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Gosh.
I come back from Brickworld Chicago, very inspired to build. I feel like not only were there so many builders there, so many really great mocks, but I saw people whose skills with the stuff I like to do just blew me away, and it makes me want to up my game. How about you, Flynn?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean,
Totally.
they're just the quality of builds across the board was just like off the chart.
Outstanding.
Yeah. To answer your question, I made a video about how I have to actually put buffer days out of work to recover from Chicago. Because my soul left my body the minute I turned that rider rental in and got all the other mocks distributed. I was dead to the world for, I have a 1 day of just, it's not Lego Masters bad recovery, but it's getting close. Like if they had it go for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, then yeah, it would have been sustained damage.
Well, I gotta say that TrickyLUG really turned it out at Chicago.
Oh yeah.
Like there was a massive amount of tables. I mean, I had heard that we gave some of our table up, and so when I arrived and there was like 9 or 10 tables, I was like, so what did we give up exactly? and how is this gonna happen? And the whole thing was full by the end, and it was amazing. Hang on a second.
And Dawn actually showed with TrickyLUG and also with the Lego Masters and had beautiful, huge pieces
which we have pictures of
Very exciting.
Lego art that we can share.
Did you guys get like a Lego Masters, display table? Like you?
Yeah,
there was a whole island of Lego Masters display.
Yeah, an island and a half. They treat the Lego Masters as if they're a lug. So if we're not, I got pulled away from the Den-Lug Cow-Lug group, for example, and I was over on the other side, 2 tables over.
So Flynn and Richard, did you put it in with TrickyLUG or did you put it in the Lego Masters display?
TrickyLUG.
It was in TrickyLUG, which was just across the aisle, actually, from the Lego Masters display. So it was kind of all
together. Yeah.
In an area.
We were part of the Castle collab.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, Brian, tell us a little bit about what you were doing there.
I was existing.
That's fair.
Which you might say like, hey, that's not a lot to do over 5 days. But when you see this is the bulk of the convention for all, and like really any convention, but just seeing people and talking to people, getting a meal, getting into a conversation, like you said in your TikTok Moto, same energy. It's a different level of energy put out over 4 or 5 days, especially the travel. And I'm not as old as anybody else here, right? I'm the youngest on the panel, but even I still feel like I'm dead. I had a wedding, I had to travel, I did all these things, and my mind is still like a little bit of scrambled eggs. It hasn't settled in the pan yet from Chicago. And I don't, my feet are still tender. I'm like trying to flex out and I'm like, I'm still feeling it, man. It was a blast. Even if I didn't even bring anything to display, I just brought me and it was still a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I can't be sure, but I'm pretty sure I saw a certain penguin make an appearance.
What happens on Friday night will happen again next year. It was, when Taco says Zumba, you got to bring out the big guns. So I did.
Oh my goodness.
I did.
So had any of you, I know Moto, you've been to Brickworld Chicago before, right?
Yeah, I went last year. It's our reunion for season 2. That's one of the main reasons I go.
Laura.
Are
you the only one there that had Yeah, was it new for everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I had been
It was new
a
for
couple
me.
times before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was new for us for sure.
Brian
How
had
many
been, though.
miles? Brick Orphanage says, how many miles did you walk? I don't know. So many.
We got our steps in.
Like 100% easily. And the lights out was stunning,
Really
I gotta
cool.
say. But we will get to that. It's time for pins. We just kind of barreled right in.
I'm ready. Boom.
Barreled right in. Holly, let's start with you.
Okay, well, speaking of VES, the Visual Effects Society, they gave their board members these really cool pins.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What? I can't tell. What is it?
It's the trip to the moon with the rocket.
Oh, with
in
the
its
rocket
eye.
in the eyeball. That's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, it's like a die cast pen, so that's pretty special.
Very cool. All right, Kara.
All right, so when we were in Chicago, we went to the Art Institute, and among the many great pieces of art there is Edward Hopper's Nighthawks, which is that fabulous night scene of a diner on the corner, and we got this.
Oh, that's great.
Ooh,
That's
That's
really cool.
great.
very
So
cool.
good. Very nice. Very nice. Moto, where are we going today?
We are going to Jewel Cave National Monument.
Wow.
So
Very nice.
Oh, nice.
And that reminds me, friends, that I'm reminding you that there will be no show next week because we will be camping. Very excited camping out on Mount Diablo.
But yeah, Jewel Cave, I would recommend it. It's not as spectacular as the Carlsbad Caverns because nothing can compare to that in the United States, but it is a lovely, lovely cave system. And you can also visit Wind Cave if you're in the area.
Very nice. Brian.
Through the kind act of a gentleman currently in the panel and about 2 years of waiting, I finally have my Super Nintendo World pins from Flynn.
wow.
Yay!
There you
quite
go.
some time ago here. Come on.
That's a
Focus.
collection.
There we go. Yeah. The whole lineup here. So these are pretty snazzy. Thank you again, Flynn.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are pretty snazzy. Oh, Kara, would you check the private chat?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Very good. And I guess it's our turn.
Is it us?
Is it us? I think it's us. Hang on one sec. I just need to get Clicky situated here. Okay, there we go.
All right. Well, this is how I was feeling at Brickworld Chicago. Maybe there. I haven't gotten quite there yet on the way back. But Tigger, it was a very, very bouncy time. Thanks, Clicky, for the focus there.
That's so funny that you picked that because I picked one that was my personality at Brickworld. And oh yes, just want to make sure I have the right one. Squirrel. That was definitely me at Brickworld. No question.
Oh, you guys, they had a I forgot the name of it. They had a short that showed it before Elemental that if it's out there you'll have to check it out. It was like a Doug short.
Oh,
yes,
cool.
I heard about it. I heard
Really cute.
I read something about it online.
Pretty cute.
Whoop, there we go. All right, so I mean, we're gonna show some pictures, but I want to just kind of go around and find out like what was everybody's favorite like thing that they saw when they were there. Could you pick a favorite thing? Moto.
I have a favorite thing.
New Hashima, of course, Country Mile.
Yeah, well, that was hard. I would say that was hard to beat, but there was so much to love at this convention.
Deeble says TrickyLUG was on the WGN Morning News for a couple of minutes.
Mhm.
Oh, cool. Very good. That is awesome. And Kara, what about you?
I think my favorite thing was this castle built out of Duplo that was life-size for kids to crawl in and like a fort. And I want to do that. I want to live inside a Duplo fort.
So that's Graham, who I went with him to TwitchCon, Amsterdam, and San Diego, and he is the Duplo guy, like of anywhere ever, and he builds almost exclusively in Duplo, and he's amazing with all the work he does. And that castle is probably the coolest thing I've seen him build using that Duplo. So it was a good.
I loved it immensely.
Yeah.
And Dawn, yes, I sent the thing.
Mm.
There you go. So I will say that one of them. I don't know. I saw a lot of favorite, and this is going to be like super like Mr. Rogers Sesame Street style. But I gotta say that my favorite thing I saw was meeting the people that I had never met before that I've known for 3 years, like online. Like that was the most incredible experience.
Yeah, if you meant just overall, what thing? Yeah, it wasn't New Hashima. I thought you meant a favorite build.
So I kind of threw you a curveball there, but
it was a trick question.
But yeah, it was.
Call it a bait and switch, dude.
It was the friends we made along the way. So Brian, favorite
creation, and I'll go into my favorite thing now that we have the double end of the prompt here. The thing that stopped me in my tracks, as somebody who's seen, I mean, we've all seen hundreds of things at conventions, but the gentleman who made the I don't know what the measurement scale was, but it was a giant horse with the knight on it.
Yep.
And okay, so horses, as I've been told, are one of the most difficult things to draw just due to all the different legs and the curvatures and everything. And then to make that creature out of Lego, to make any creature out of Lego, and then to make a horse and then the guy on top of it. And I'm like, this is like multiple layers of amazing building. So that I stopped and I had like a 20-minute conversation with the kid about that.
I believe it's Roldan Grace, I believe is his name, and he's 18.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people stopped and had that conversation. With him. And speaking of people having a conversation, look who's in the green room, everybody, joining us, who was also live at Brickworld. It's Dawn.
Hey, Dawn.
Hello, Dawn.
How's it going, Dawn? Oh, we can't hear you. Here we go.
Well, it wouldn't be a stream there with audio problems.
It's going good. I have some kind of weird echo, so I'm going to have to take my Bluetooth out.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Oh, but we can hear you.
I know
we can hear you now.
I've got the stream on in another spot. That's why. Oh, that's better.
Oh, very nice. Okay, and here we go. I actually happen to have this queued up. That is the horse in question.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an almost entirely studless.
Whoops, dang it!
Almost entirely studless creation, 360 degrees freestanding,
and the knight on top of it.
I sent him a message congratulating him on the win. I was shooting for a sculpture nomination, but I was like, nope.
Yeah, and I mean,
and he got a white brick too. I mean, he got a white brick that tells you how crazy that thing is.
Yep.
But yeah, he was super nice kid. We talked to him for a while as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot. So if you're wondering, those eyeballs, which look incredible, were just the lamppost globes. And it was just so well done. And of course, took the prize. And well should have, because it was incredible.
No, I saw a brick, that white brick there said Best in Show 2023. Was that he won a major award from Chicago? Was that one of his awards from Chicago?
That's different than the elusive white brick. There's different white bricks. That one's got special trim on it for Best of Show. And then there were a handful, was it 4 mysterious white bricks that show up that you open up that was created specifically for the person with a build. Brickworm, Deneen got one.
Yeah, and if you remember, after Brick Rodeo, we had Steve on, who had built the really big Fabuland layout, And he also got one. He had the Fabuland layout there at Brickworld, and he got one of those as well. And his was like had monkeys inside, which was awesome.
Well, his had the monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey, because 2 years ago, Brick Rodeo was 2021. A Brick Odyssey was the theme for it, and he's on the board for.
Somebody did their research. Very good. Oliver was asking how did he get the chainmail texture on the arms, and I'll put this back on again, but it was actually like Lego chains wound around the arm and on the neck. I mean, just really incredible stuff.
I wonder, I would have lots of questions. I mean, just having, kids that I try to get into doing anything at all like this. I always wonder, like is he in a lug? Do his parents build? Does he have friends that build? Like, I wonder where he gets his inspiration.
Well, maybe we can have him on the show at some point.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, we'll take a look. But yeah, so great stuff. So Dawn, we were talking about favorite builds that we saw. What was yours? Did you have a favorite?
I'm gonna have to. It was hard. It was very, very hard to pick a favorite because there were just so many awesome builds there. But I'm gonna have to say the Eurobricks collab, which was the barge of the damned or the barge of the dead or whatever it was called.
The barge of the dead.
We have photos of that too.
Yeah, let me see if I can't find those.
And I do know a couple of people that are in Eurobricks, and so I know how good of builders they are. One of which was the outgoing Brickworld Master is in that group.
Oh, and who
Tim
was
Lighty.
that?
That's Tim Lighty.
Tim Lighty. Yeah, well, I mean,
he's level. He just everything he does amazes me. So it's just awesome.
I'm just trying to get rid of this. Sorry, I do have pictures of this that I'm attempting to get.
There we are. Now this the Barge of the Dead was the name of it, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Something like that.
It's hard to express in a single photo or two just how impressive it was. It had huge movement of waves going along the sides of the barge. There was light. There was large rotating conveyor belt lighting over the top of it.
I believe it's 12 or 13 folks contributed to this, and it's based on Deus de la Muerta. So it's fantastic.
It was incredible.
The most impressive thing for me,
and standing up there looking at some of the details, it's like gosh, and things you didn't see it during the day. You could see with lights out. It was just.
It must have been about 16 to 20 feet from the front to the back.
So yeah, and the head moved, and these rings right here had like the conveyor belts on them that were like these little
one
spines
moved one way and
moving.
one moved the other, and
And I loved the head; was just gorgeous. I mean, look at that.
And the neck is all with dragon wings, right?
Yeah, all that's all fabric from dragon wings right there.
Outstanding.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
Yeah, and Eurobricks, I believe they had won 5 years in a row for the largest group layout.
New Hashima coming in and
messing there.
Well, here, let's see. I've got some pictures and videos here in no particular order that we can go through.
But that's why if you got the token of the waterfall, that was last year's Eurobricks winning.
Oh, we got one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was from the Masters.
Yeah, that was
the
from the Brickworld Master, Tim Lighty.
Oh,
Gujic.
Nice.
It's a Gujic.
That's cool. Yeah, we got one on our.
Yeah, so
what did I say?
They try to put one at every builder's.
Yep. That's a lot.
Well, we saw at Bricks Cascade. At Bricks Cascade, people would leave little tokens
they did
to
that
say
here,
how much we like your piece, and we saw a lot of that. At
We
Brickworld
have our
Chicago.
little bag full. We got some really nice tokens. So,
I'm
so
very
this was
familiar
by
with this
Dawn.
piece.
So, Dawn, tell us a little bit about this.
Well, this was actually built a year and a half ago, and it went to the museum. And I showcased it on the TrickyLUG meeting before I boxed it up and sent it to Texas. And it didn't survive Texas very well, as the trip to Texas very well, as Moto knows. So I had to send in pictures to help rebuild it. So, but this is a sunflower. It's called. It's 3 by 2, 48 by 40, 48 by 48 base plates in size.
Wow,
and then the frame around it. Yeah, so it's big and it stands up and it draws attention. I didn't have it in a position. It's like if I'd have been over where Moto was, it would have drawn everybody over to the tables because people see it from across the room. And it's really neat to see their reaction. I've seen people run over or run into other people because they're focused on walking straight for it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What do? They just make a snowplow like that, and they're just like.
Yeah, they just kind of just barrel right through, and
Wow.
they're focused on going to it. And I mean, I've had it at a couple of the Brickworld expos, the little regional expos, and so that this was the chance that I got to bring it and use some of my different techniques and my weird number pedals according to somebody who was helping rebuild it.
Wait, weird number of pedals?
That was my claim to fame, as I was helping restore Dawn's build, and there's another person helping me, but he heard me say this thing like, prime numbers? Who puts frickin' prime number of pedals in there? This is 7. What is
Oh, you know what? I just remembered. Today is Pride here across the bay in San Francisco. So happy San Francisco Pride, everyone. You said Prime, and it made me think about that. I don't attend anymore myself, but
no, Dawn's very clever. If you really look at the details, I learned a lot. But yeah, 7, 11, there was a lot of prime. 13, there's a lot of prime number pedals on those, which is a very new way to come around to build a flower, right? Because usually we think of
very
4s
organic.
and 8s and 2s. Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
that was what was,
Yeah, I
that
don't
was
know if
the
you guys
plan,
have ever
was
run
to
into
make it
that, like
organic.
just when you're planning something out. Do you ever like just putting down a base of something? I sometimes try to avoid those odd numbers just because, like, I don't know. Sometimes you end up backing yourself into a corner with trying to get things like the bigger you go with odd numbers in between. It's kind of hard to sometimes. I don't know. That's just the experience that I've had. I'm like, why did I go 7? Although now we have like 1x5 plates and such, which has probably alleviated that trouble maybe a little bit.
Yeah. This was before I got any of those plates, but yeah, it made it the size that I needed, and so that's why I ended up being that number. And I didn't even count how many there were until you told me when you guys were putting it together. It's like, oh, 21. Okay.
I really appreciate how dimensional it was, and something you don't recognize, it's hard to see in just a still photo, is how the light reflects off it in 3D as you walk around. It really just comes to life with all the sparkle from the lighting.
Yeah, and mentioned in the chat, thank goodness Mr. Dave Shufik from Brick Nerd is alive, because if you looked at his car, he hit a deer and then he hit a semi. So
my God.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's not, his car's not totaled, it is NASCAR totaled.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire
Whoa.
passenger side is
Whoa.
gone.
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
so that was a
thank
scary
you.
pic, which I saw just
What?
as I was leaving Monday morning. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I have to go sort of the way he was going, although I turned north before he did.
It's
Yeah, I
those
saw that.
random deer when you're
All
traveling
right.
in the woods.
I'm glad
Yeah, he was on the
okay.
highway. He was on the highway. So he was highway speed. I don't know. Did he hit the deer and then he hit the semi, or did he hit the deer and I think a semi hit him? Or
I thought that he
Yeah.
hit a deer and the semi hit him is what I thought
Mhm.
happened. Either way, it wasn't pretty.
Oh my goodness.
not pretty. No. So happy to see him
Well,
The Lego,
So
the
see
Lego,
if he was being-
his Lego sadly did not survive. It was
Well,
His
he
brick
can
nerd
rebuild
did
that.
not, no.
You can't-
We can rebuild. It's
yeah,
not
we
a
can
problem.
rebuild him, the bionic nerd. It'll be great. Speaking of great, this may be one of my favorite pictures from the entire weekend. And that is
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
the clutch of Lego Masters that were there.
very cool.
3 seasons.
Yeah, 3 seasons,
5 seasons.
5.
Yeah,
Well,
because
Well,
the
in there, there's-
flares
in
and-
the US as well.
flares
Oh,
and
you're
two.
right. You're right. Sorry, you're right. Yes, we
Yeah,
had
Flares and
dinner
two.
with Fleur, who was lovely. We had a great time with her, and Randall both actually. Yes, that's a lot. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Talk about squirrel. Try to get this group of people
Yeah.
to all pay attention and be present.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
It's been ridiculous for about 3 months with all the prep and everything, and I nicknamed Ryan the cat herder because he did an awesome job.
Oh, he totally was absolutely the cat herder, 100%. So I've got some other pictures here, just of like particular things that I saw that I really liked, and things that like got noticed or whatever. So this one I thought was so cool.
Yeah.
This definitely
Ooh.
got nominated, and just what a great little sort of theatrical presentation of this. It was cool. It was cool.
Yeah, I liked it. It reminds me of the Idea space set and the way it's layered.
Yeah,
with color,
yeah.
geometry, and space. Really, really well done.
Yeah, very, very theatrical.
And that's mini lens scale, right?
Kind of,
We're seeing more and more mini lens scale mocks, and Fabufan MKE, who was with us, did some wonderful mini lens scale works, including Paperman.
Yeah. So this is
Firks.
Brian Firks from
Love
season
this.
2, his Middle Earth, and this one for best micro build. It's really fantastic. This Middle Earth map is really incredible. He did such a great job.
Sorry, Skittles is over here grumbling for like the last 10
No.
minutes.
10 minutes, Skittles. You've got 10 minutes.
Somebody's talking back.
Oh, Alexander, you're right. It is would go really well with the jazz set that came out.
Yep.
That was really nice.
Yeah.
But my goodness, and also the vendors all had like absolutely enormous booths. Like Citizen Bricks was like a city block to walk around.
With absolutely enormous prices to go with, including at the yard sale. So I didn't buy anything.
Oh no. We did go to their they had an open house on Monday, and we got to go to
Tell us
to-
about that.
Oh, it was fun. Like, I mean, they just kind of literally just opened the warehouse that they work in and let people come in, and they had, individual pieces for sale. And we got one of the gals who is a printer there, showed us the press and like how pad printing works. And it was fascinating. I had no idea. There was a lot more to it than I thought, and it was very different than I thought. And I guess the one thing that really stood out to me was like the little rubber thing, like picks up the ink over here and then comes over here and like puts it on. But there's like a solvent in the ink that basically embeds it into the plastic. So it becomes part of the plastic rather than being just merely printed on top of the plastic. So that's like the whole pad printing thing. It was really cool. Yep. And I did pick up a few things. I picked up there were some really cool vendors. There was this one, that they had little tiny printed potion bottles of all different sizes and colors, like little with, like dragon's blood and eye of newt and all. Of course, I bought a bunch of them, and they had
I got one of each.
Yeah, they got a really great apothecary tile to go with it, and some of the other things. So you didn't buy anything, Brian? Nothing.
I worked with somebody to do a trade, and I got $40 worth of Mario sets. So Mario sets are already
Okay. Very
so,
good.
You know, a little thing, but yeah.
K-Town Bricks. Thank you, Debo. Yes, K-Town Bricks is the place. Have all of the little flyers and such. But yeah, they were they had some really great stuff that I enjoyed. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I see we have somebody else in the green room.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Who could it be? Special guest. It's Randall. Hi, Randall.
Randall.
This computer gives me problems.
Congratulations on your Bricky.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You won a Bricky for your Chicago sign.
I did. It's right up here. I got the Judges Award.
Oh, cool.
It was very cool to see in person.
Sorry, hold it up again.
Got the Judges Award for it. I also, when I put it to Brick Fair, I got the biggest, bestest. So Chicago theater making the rounds.
Double threat.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Very cool.
What, this old red brick, this old thing. Congrats.
So we were talking earlier, Randall, about like what was your favorite thing that you saw? Like if you had to pick something that was your favorite, or could you even pick one that was your favorite? What was your favorite thing that you saw?
It's probably the thing that our special guest later was a part of.
Okay, sure, fair. Yeah, we talked about we've mentioned it a few times, New Hashima, but I'm gonna hold off showing the pictures and the video until that happens, which is just a few minutes away.
I've seen it. I mean, probably a lot of us have seen it elsewhere. I've seen it twice at Brick Fair VA before this. So this was just, its most grandest iteration so far.
Yeah, well, it was all new to me. So I will. Yeah, it was. Well, we'll talk. Well, let's hold off talking until we get.
So we get the director's commentary.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
The director's
The DVD audio track too.
But yeah, that was well, like I said, we'll talk about that. But did you so you had, I know, an enjoyable time. You got to Fleur was in town, who is a friend of yours, right?
That's
we got
right.
to hang out, went out for dinner and fun. She was wonderful. And if you haven't seen her in which season of Australia is she?
She's in two.
Two? Okay,
Two?
Moto might know.
Yeah.
No, I mean, she's in two different seasons. She was back for Grand Masters, I believe.
Oh, that's right. And then she made little sewing machine tokens that were amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
cute.
I can't remember the standard season, but she was also in this latest one, I believe.
Well,
Within
she
the Grand
wasn't
Masters.
on Grandmaster. She was on the Christmas special.
Oh, it was a Bricksmith Spectacular
Yeah,
one.
so-
I get that so mixed up.
Yeah, I don't think I mentioned it here because I hadn't been here a while, but I met them in Brickvention down in Australia in January, and met the Australia folks. So that was really fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So that's where I first met Fleur and everybody down there, and she was the only one that could make it to Brickworld this time. So near the end of Brickworld, I passed the torch to Dawn because she's hopefully going to go to Brickvention next year.
And did you guys meet the Lego Master from Europe? That was
no, I didn't even know
I missed her.
They didn't say anything. I didn't see.
Yeah, she made Chopper. I was able to talk to her. She's really cool.
Yeah.
Which Lego Masters Europe?
Norway.
I have to go back and look.
I think it was
Norway?
Norway.
Norway. I think it was
Wow.
Norway.
Cool.
But yeah, she won the category for the droid, for Chopper, the Star Wars droid.
Oh, that's
which did
right.
Everything.
It was very
She
good.
made a full-on droid. It was incredible.
That's cool.
What? And it was cool too. Not only did I get to see Randall's sign, but I got to see the real thing when we were there. The real Chicago sign, the real Chicago Theater sign. And yours was better.
That's funny. Thank you. Thank you, Brick Orphanage too. I just learned somebody is going to make a lighted version of that sign. They DM'd me like a couple days ago. So just to ask me about it. So, you know, I hope they, you know, crush it, because I can't, the way that I built it, it wasn't able to be lit, and, you know, in the way that you would expect the real thing. So, you know, I hope they knock it out the park.
Groovy.
Wow, it was exceptional. There was a really beautiful mosaics section of this, like on both sides of the room. You could go see just mind-boggling, and probably the Surat, the afternoon on Le Grand Jatte, which was the other thing I got to see in real life and then in Lego form on the same trip, which was awesome.
And it's 1-to-1.
Yeah,
Matt.
it was really
enormous.
incredible.
It was like 12 feet across or something. It was really huge.
Yeah, that was a
intense.
very large Lego mosaic, and my fingers hurt just looking at it. Like all of those tiles, especially if you had to pull one off. Like, can you imagine? Because you know there was some pulling off of things.
We also saw great entries in mosaic from Kate, the brick huntress.
Oh yes, well she always brings the mosaics, like really, really amazing stuff, of course.
And she probably was up there for furthest drive from Bend, Oregon. That was 2,000 miles. So she was she's a trooper.
That's crazy.
Dang.
Wow.
I only drove half that, and I messaged her when I got home, like, I don't know how you do this. You got twice as many miles. And she's like, yeah, Wyoming, ... was the reply. I was like, God.
I mean, if I had the time, I would be all about that, you know? Like, I would hitch up my trailer and go clear across East Coast, but I don't know, maybe my retirement days.
Very good. All right, friends. Well, it looks like it is about time.
Oh, what was that? Was that something else, Laura?
She gave up. She left.
It's about time. It's time for the pause that refreshes. That's right, everybody. It's Logan cookie time. He's helping.
Oh boy.
He's helping.
The shake is real.
Hi, Logan. Good boy.
Want another one?
There you go.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
And our sound of happiness, everyone.
Oh, good boy, Logan. What a good boy. And one catch. Oh,
he's off to get it.
Bad throw. And now, Skittles with the weather.
You'll have to call her twice. Ready? You catch it? Lucky boy, you can do it.
That was so close.
Right at her face.
It's a good.
Catch it. Nope. Catch it. Ready? No. Or you could just wait for them to
And
land.
one more.
Nope.
It was close. We'll call that close. And that, my friends, has been Logan Cookie Time. All right.
No, you don't get the ones that drop on the floor. Move it.
Awesome. Well, hey, that's us. There. That's everybody. Okay, friends. So now there was literally so much to see and so much to talk about. Like, I don't even know how it could be like compressed down into one thing. Like, I felt like we went around and saw so much stuff, and then we went to go do the voting, and they had pictures of everything, and I was like, how did I not see this? I've like been walking around for 3 days, and yet somehow I missed out on things. But
I was one of the
Luckily, they
judges,
had
surprisingly, and it took me 5.5 hours just to do my categories.
Oh,
because you have to walk the entire hall twice to make sure you didn't miss anything and focus on and really deliberate about what you're going to nominate.
So how do
I
you
would take a separate pass just to pay attention to the small pieces, because
Absolutely.
we'll find out in a moment. Some of the large pieces really were just so awe-inspiring. It was easy to miss the little things.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
with that wonderful segue,
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah,
for
here we
people
go.
that haven't been to Brickworld, the layout is different than most other conventions, especially on the West Coast. Like they don't do it by theme, right?
No,
They
you
do
have
it
to sit with
by
your
lug.
lug. They do it by
builder.
lug. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
lug
gotta
or
be
by
hard.
builder.
All right, and now moving back over to the excellent segue that you provided.
Nice clumsy segue there.
We have another special guest today. Somebody who we met several years ago at Bricks Cascade, and such a pleasure to have him on the show today and talk a little bit about the biggest thing on the floor. It's Simon Liu, everybody. Hi, Simon.
Hi.
Hi, Simon.
How's it going?
Not bad.
You
I'm
haven't
a
taken
bit-
the jersey off?
No, it's actually tattooed to my skin at this point. I do apologize. I'm a bit sick, so my voice isn't as my usual awesomeness. But great to see everyone.
Good to see you too. Yeah, well, we somehow escaped the con crud, which was nice.
Congrats.
So that was good. But so as somebody who has been part of organizing a very large, a couple tables worth of layout. I can okay, so first of all, let me how many times have you shown this piece before this time?
Never. This is the first time it's all been together. We've had one of the 4 components shown multiple times, but for those that went to Brick Fair last year, which was about 10 months ago, we've effectively created 3 more sections or 4 times bigger in the last 10 months.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm getting pictures up here to show people, but why don't you just give us a little kind of background information on what exactly
while he
this
talks,
is?
should I run that video? Because that video is 5 minutes, just the overview.
Oh
video.
yeah. Why don't we? That's perfect.
Can you
That's
promote
perfect,
it from the space?
Yep.
So while he talks, we'll just do the overview
Sure.
video here.
So what started this all off was 10 years ago. BrickWorld did an amazing Cyber City in Chicago in 2013. And we've always said that we should do another one. And since then, Stefan, who was the other co-lead for this, unfortunately, he's out at the beach doing emergency backup family time for spending an entire week working on this in Chicago. He's actually a castle builder. He's not a cyberpunk builder, but saw this build and was like his dream to create one of his own. And he spent like the last 4 years building one sector, Sector 8 specifically, which is actually the area we're seeing now with what I lovingly call the Minion Tower. So he designed a lot of that. He showed that at Brick Fair last year and reached out to a couple of us and say, hey, do you want to build for this? It's overall built in a semi-modular fashion, which I could get to later, but a bunch of us dived in and did that last year. And then at the end of Brick Fair last year, it was like all right, how do we supersize it? We showed that we can expand this. It's easy to get other collaborators in. Let's go crazy, blue sky. What do we want to do? Well, we built one section already. Let's just add on 3 more sections. Like if you imagine there is one section, which is a 8x8. We built a triangle in the middle. That was inner city or Sector 2. We had Sector 4, which was the outer city, which was another 8x8 block. And then we had something called the docks, which was another 8x8 dock. So it's basically like 4 collabs in one that all stick together into like a giant transformer.
I couldn't help but notice, since we saw this at Lights Out and the lighting was so brilliant, you could see it, even when all the convention lights were on. Was there a coordinated system or standard for lighting? Because it was one of the most heavily lit mocks I've seen.
There was no standard, but it was a standard to have whatever you built lit. There are some exceptions, like not all the cars were lit and stuff like that. But if you were building a cube, which is our kind of ideal collaborator size, where you build one, every cube had to be lit. And based on that, there are I should have brought the my sample cube. But there are holes that run inside so that you can route wires through. So you have the option of using USB. We had the option of using like power. There are some that goes battery. It doesn't really matter. That said, Brick Stuff did sponsor us and give us a discount for a lot of their lighting, as well as provided a lot of the screens that were used. In other words, the Brick Stuff, I've been using them for years and years and years, ever since they were the first group that gave me black lights, because I love UV lights. And I asked like Rob, hey, can you do this for me? He's like, absolutely. And ever since then, I've been a convert. That said, a lot of people did custom wiring themselves. The big two examples are Stefan, the other co-leader, who learned how to do electronics just to do this collab. So like he'd just buy random stuff from like AliExpress and all like Chinese stores and like just hand wired it and soldered himself. Chris Roberts, which is a engineer by trade, he did a whole bunch of things on his side. His was that cool cube on the docks, which has like a truck stop, and there's a whole bunch of custom lighting and stuff there. And a lot of people just use like off-the-shelf stuff, like I think each of the landing pads, there's like 6 little spotlights, and it's like an IKEA home kit to put in shelves and things. So it's whatever you can work. We'll figure it out. So in the bottom of my particular section, the docks, we had to buy like a 20 port USB hub to wire all these things in, and like buy like I think we had over 100 USB extension cables. Though when you're buying those extension cables, 1.5 feet versus 1.5 inches is very confusing. Don't buy the little ones, because that was someone did that and it was really, really funny.
So I just wanted to get some of the basic facts out there that I understand, so you can correct me, because I've been here, you hear different numbers. So in total, if you include graphic artists, graphic designers, animators for all the signage, the brick animators, all that stuff, it was 100 people roughly, or over 100, and then 70 builders of modules, and then 60 installers on site. Is that roughly correct?
I think the top number slightly higher. There's 100 people in our so-called Discord server that expressed interest at some point. I think about 75 or maybe 80 when you include the extra animators. Someone did the signs for us. That's probably more accurate, but about the 60 on site. I think it's actually 65 when you include folks that added like some figs or some vehicles. That's probably actually accurate. And then 10 of them could not make it, sent their other stuff. There's one guy, Josh, I call out all the time. He shipped like 3 massive cubes, which came in a various level of completeness, which we had to rebuild on site.
And it's about 4 million pieces you guys were estimating?
That's our best estimate. It's honestly really hard. I
know.
I don't think we even like. I tried to task someone to actually count the number of cubes, and even that proved problematic. Like I think what was it? We were I think we're up to 145 in 2 sections, and then we gave up counting.
Wow.
Well, it was especially during the lights out, and I have a particular fascination with lighting, but I was awe-inspired. It was hard to remember that this was Lego, because it was so immersive, and and stands stands head and shoulders above any, it was very tall.
Yeah, it was, especially at night, like it was a beacon, and people were sitting around it like a campfire. Yes. Just
I almost thought it was going to be like Avatar, where all the builders were like in front of the tree, just kind of like singing their song in unison. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, so speaking of that, how do you get everyone in unison on this? Like, how do you get like people to like? How do you coordinate this many people?
There you go, Simon.
A lot of project management and just the belief in it. So I think one of the key things was that Stefan approved that this is viable. In other words, he built his small 8x8 section and it looked great and everyone loved it. That was arguably one of the I think back in some of like the coolest layouts I've ever seen. Chicago is, you guys were talking about it. You mentioned it as weird. It is weird in that I've been to many conventions, East Coast, Brick Fair, and even Scareback. But like the fact that it's displayed by random groupings is odd and different, which in my mind kind of has created a group aspect that is different than any other con. Like you don't have as many Eurobricks or Orphan Lug or like these groups that are trying to build something together, because they're normally like the castle group, or what are we going to do our castle thing this year, or maybe you have a couple, but like because you segregate these groups into these random flowing groups that you get to create, has created some of the largest collabs ever. And some of like my favorite ones I've ever seen have been in Chicago. Like the original Brolug Cyber City 10 years ago was by far my favorite for a long time. And then if you ever saw Eurobrick's Potion Shop, that was like a literal walk-in life scale potion shop of like eccentric things. I'm like, okay, that is just like, they've done a lot of cool stuff, and like that one was like one of my favorites. And then that one was
pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's one of those that you really have, like, this is why like I've been slacking. I used to go to a lot of conventions, but like I just love seeing all these things, and like a lot of these things are one and done. Like you'll only ever see it once in Chicago, and then it's done. Like for this particular New Hashima, there'll be sections of it being reshown. Unless we can like get like a museum to sponsor us to set up the whole thing, we're never going to set up the whole thing again.
So that's another question I have. So are you guys, I imagine you probably coordinate a lot of this through lug meetings, maybe? Like how?
So no, because it's not a single lug. It's like,
can you stand up and show your esports jersey and all the badge of all the lugs?
Yeah, so like it was a open collab, and anyone who wanted to join could join. Like we put out feelers on Instagram. We did reach out to certain people and basically be like, we're doing this thing. If you want in, anyone can do it. Here are the standards, as long as you adhere to these rules. There was one person that did want to build, started building, put in the capital to build it, but it wasn't kind of like, they basically started too late and we had to cut it. It was like everyone's worked really hard for this. The build, it's starting good, but like we just can't have us figuring this out a week, like the Saturday or Sunday before the show. And he still ended up building a little car with a mini model of what he was going to put in. So like that was still really heartwarming that he still got in, but like essentially anyone who wanted to join could join. And that's what I love. I think you guys talked about this earlier about what was your favorite thing? Like it wasn't really New Hashima, it was the group that we brought together. Like some of these people have never come to Chicago. I think someone mentioned that Bend, Oregon was the furthest. Technically, no. There was one group from Brendan, who's raising his hands in the back. He drove from San Francisco-ish area in California. So I think that adds an extra 100 miles. And he basically drove the entire Californian contingent's contribution to this. And none of them had ever come to Chicago before. And there's like other people that just, like one of our friends who was part of the original Brolug build, hasn't been building or in the community for the last like 6-7 years, and he came back out of retirement just for this. And like and the really buff dude on the bottom right corner, he's a videographer from Vegas, never been to Lego convention. He collects like Lego minifigs occasionally, saw what we're doing on Instagram and reached out and was like, can I like come out and film this stuff for you?
That's so cool.
Like, literally I just like, I'm a professional film, like I want to film this thing because I feel like it's going to be special. And like we've seen like snippets because he's all putting it all together, but like he's got like the full professional gamut of like super toys, steady cams, the super macro lenses, which is basically like the gun, like all that crazy stuff. And the fact that, and I do really feel bad about the judges and Tim specifically, because we pushed back World Lights an hour. I don't know if you guys noticed. It's normally 2 hours. We got 3, an extra one, which meant all the activities that are normally scheduled or planned right after that got pushed back an hour. So the awards couldn't go out till an hour later. The Gudricks, don't go out for another hour. And like I was like, all right, I didn't think about that. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, here I want to show.
I also wanted to congratulate you on the esports jerseys. Those things are super professional, really well done.
Cool.
And absolutely, the backs of them read like a who's who of building. For future builders.
Well, no, because Moto wasn't here. Like, to be fair, you should be. You did help out from the pins to the reassembly. You were part of the team.
We see there the sort of pagoda in the center with the green and purple was Meredith.
That was Meredith.
Pink with 3.
She was our first winner of a build challenge here on our show 3 years ago. Yeah, that's how we met Meredith.
She is. So like that's the other thing. It's like I'd never met Meredith and Brian before, and they're such lovely people. And like so they've convinced me to go down to Atlanta. We're gonna swing by maybe Asho for a couple of drinks, and like it's less like the build is objectively awesome, but a lot of it was the friendships and things that we built along the way, which is super cheesy, but like I think you guys were talking about the white bricks earlier, and like I can give a bit more context to white bricks if you guys want, because I've been around for quite a while, but they normally all contain a build, which is odd because mine did not. But what it did was a handwritten note, which...
Oh, wait. Now we can see the handwriting, though. We might figure out who...
Well, that's the thing. We're going to send it to the FBI or something. But
we cover who it is.
Real New Hashima were the friends we built along the way. Thank you for everything. And talking to Ted, who is our Ted Andes, who is the resident white brick expert, who has written the article on Brick Nerd and keeps track of the trends. Like his thought is normally it's a build that represents the person there. I forget the person's name, but you're saying from Texas who did the 2001. Like whoever it is clear, obviously taking a lot of time and effort tailoring things to the build. I think the one that Ted got back in when he did a speeder race thing with Train Track, he got a little portal build and it was like, oh, that's neat. But then he realized, well, he's actually been sort of a portal into the community. Like he drags people into collabs and he's been kind of that portal. And like another thing that we do at another lug is we adopt like a patron orphan every year. And when it came Ted's turn to choose, he chose the protagonist from Portal 2. So Orphan Lug's badge this year was Orphan Lug related.
That's awesome.
But going back to mine is the thought is there's no need for anything because there's no bricks there because we gave absolutely everything we got and we have nothing left. And that's kind of his read on, we just, there's nothing left. We're all empty. I am usually the late night coordinator at Chicago, which means I'm up till the last person leaves, which in Chicago is very late. I have seen, it is not uncommon that I walk out of the hall every day when it's light out, and especially on Saturday night. Saturday night is the party fun night. I crash hard on 2 a.m. I was just done, which has never happened. Sorry. The only other time was when I got really, really sick and I had to leave the hall. But besides that, never, ever have I left the hall early. And it was just I almost call it I want to do this. I need a redo convention because I felt like I didn't go to a convention. I went to a mock setup. And that's all I did.
Well, you guys were working 24/7 in shifts through since Tuesday, at least when I showed up.
Pretty much. Well, like no, even Monday. Like we started on Monday. We got there early just to like start picking people up at the airports and start reassembling stuff. You were in you saw us on Tuesday night when we were just reassembling even our test fit to see whether or not the tallest German Simon Tower could actually fit on keys.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one who calls him German Simon.
I call him the better Simon, but that's me. Most people call him German Simon.
So I gotta now. This is kind of going back to what Holly was asking. Is just like the amount of time that would go into. I mean, because to me, like when I looked at it, and I know there was like a lot going on, but it had a flow to it. Like whether that was intentional or not, it had like a flow, and I just can't like looking at it from the outside, I wouldn't have. I mean, I knew logically because I've done collabs, but I wouldn't have known like that each person did a cube because it transcended cube. Like it was beyond. And there is a picture of I got to see if I can find it. You sent me where there's like a guy's got like a chart and it's kind of showing the map, sort of like the map of it. Like, well, I mean, did people send you pictures ahead of time and you were like, okay, this section's going to be here, this is going to be here?
So really, there's only 2 people and eventually 3 who drew that picture that we're in the boardroom. That's a funny story altogether. But me and Stefan were the only 2 that really had a good overall idea of what everything is. Even though we laid it all out, I'm kind of like try to keep things simple. It's like, you focus on your cube, show us your whips, and then we'll figure out the rest. So the way it worked really well is we kind of broke it down to like 3 separate tiers of commitment and work. You have the infrastructure, i.e. basically Stefan and we take on the brute force of building the thing on the bottom. So because without that, it doesn't really work. Like you could just put it on water and then shift around. That's how it's been done before, but we wanted to be slightly more set in stone. So you need someone to basically plan that footprint and how everything goes on to it. And then of that, there are some like larger chunks that people had built to help that. So like if you go back to my particular area, the docks, like I had several large components. There was a giant wall that was completely buried and unseen, but it basically was the gap between the different tables. We knew early on, table-wise, we wanted different height tables so that it creates a much more interesting dynamic. So mine was basically 1 cube off the floor. Inner City was 2 cubes off the floor. The old Section 8 was 3 cubes off the floor. And then the inner triangle was 4 cubes off the floor. So then they all had like varying heights so that it looks really interesting and different. And then from there, it was Steph and I's job to make sure how all of the connections worked, i.e. we wanted to, even though it's very clearly on a different table, they want to flow into the city. So we try to make sure that the transit systems go back and forth. And originally we just had the road, but one of the builders wanted to build a train. And I hate this train because it is so long. Lego trains are supposed. So here's the thing. It's math lesson. If you have a wider train, you need a wider turning radius, which means we had to redesign everything to make his train work. It was tall, it was long, it was actually super heavy. Like he legitimately deserved the best original train award because
I was gonna say, but he got the best original train, even though he gave you heartache for it. But
oh no, absolutely. Though I am a bit miffed I didn't get like a best train nomination best train layout nomination because I'll never do this again. But this train, it had 7 motors in it, and he had to custom wire the power supply on the 9-volt track because it was so heavy to deliver enough current. Because it's just so dense. Like that's just the way he builds. It's super dense, and you make it roll. You're gonna need like most people might do like I've heard of 2. He had 7 train motors running.
100
this
was a 100-watt supply.
Yeah,
it was
it was nuts.
Wow.
And there was also a monorail, wasn't there?
So there was also a monorail. So this was a brick-built monorail that is similar to, I forget the gentleman's name from Japan, who has done a brick-built monorail. And it's that same design, customized to that. There was also a regular Lego monorail and a regular non-9-volt RC power train. So we had 4 trains in the city going at one time.
Well, it was an achievement. And I will say that, I mean, for me personally, like, I feel like I've been to a lot of conventions and I've seen a lot of really great builds. And I kind of felt like I had seen as far as it could be taken. Like I really had, like I've seen some amazing stuff. And like, I've seen it as far as it can go. And then I saw that and I was like, oh, there's still so much more to explore. And I felt like it reopened the hobby, like another door to the hobby that I didn't even know existed before. And it also made me really, really even more excited about collabs. Like I've been slowly getting into collabs over the years, and that just really like cemented my like that. If it can be like that, like but then I was like, oh, the setup.
Yeah, somebody's got to manage it all. That's the thing.
The setup has gotten extreme. I would not really recommend anyone doing what we did. I've been joking personally, maybe the next, I like the idea of every 10 years, 2033, maybe we'll do it again. But I kind of felt like I lost a convention. Like I didn't go to convention at all. So I would not recommend it. But I do recommend collabs. Like my very first Chicago in 2012, I was part of the Eurobricks collab. It was pirate. I did like these Chinese junk pirate ships, which meant I can make the Chinese junk joke the entire weekend. I loved it. But it got me hooked. I just like working with people and doing something greater than myself has always been what has kept me coming back. And it's hilarious because this year was a very, all I did was new Hashima. So I make the joke that no one likes me anymore because I got so little tokens except for Moto, shout out, love. I haven't opened it, but I got very little tokens because no one knew where my thing was. They couldn't find me. It's actually kind of funny because I literally had nothing else on the thing. I think I set up one mech and then that was it. And then, but I didn't have time to even find the card. So unless you physically found me, which is another game of Where's Simon. That's another whole conversation of I'm hard enough to find normally.
Yes.
But everything was there. And if you know me, I typically have stuff everywhere. I think I'm probably the only person that's ever been in every single best collab nominee in a single year. Before I start ratcheting back, that's too much. But I just working and helping and doing these collabs, and they're usually not this onerous, though. I think the Eurobricks and then the new Hashima group this year started taking to the extreme to the point where, come on, guys, we got to step it back. This is not fun. To the point where I get it's great to this is my mentality, and I feel like Stefan needs another he's kind of thinking he didn't do anything in the convention. Apparently I missed my own panel, or sorry, I was a panelist, so it's not that bad because no one told me, and I completely forgot.
Oh yes, when we did Treasure the Snake Queen, you can ask anybody who was around. We were basically babysitting the entire time. If we weren't setting up or tearing down, we were babysitting it and hanging out or talking to people about how it was done. And it's exhausting. It's just exhausting. You don't get to see anything else. We barely got to eat.
People brought us food, which was wonderful.
Yeah.
I think my first foray into conventions, it was all about the Lego Ideas project that brought me to conventions. And so my first full year of experience was standing with a mock, talking to the public, promoting whatever. And I didn't really get to experience the rest of the con. I didn't participate in any games. it was hard to meet people unless people came to me to introduce themselves. So that first year was pretty weird. And then, and I've made up for it this year because now I built a lot less this year because I've had so much other stuff going on. So I got to go to at least a couple of cons, mostly empty-handed, and just was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm experiencing this actually for the first time.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you how appreciative I am for your sacrifice, you and Stefan, what you did and the amount of effort, simply because something at this scale, whether it's 10 years or 20, it seemed like it would have been a generational kind of approach where after 10 years or whatever time you guys deem, there's going to be a newer generation coming in. And I think it just highlighted something that was transitory, and you truly had to experience it. I felt like it was a once in a mock building generation kind of thing. And that's kind of beautiful in its own way, right? That's a very mindful Zen thing to pull off for the amount of effort it took.
Right, and I already have tentatively dubbed the next leader, whether or not he likes it or not. I've been joking about it, but it absolutely is generational, and it kind of reminds me of a Brickworld article I wrote about Lego generations, where I feel like we actually do have generations where like when I came into the community, I remember like the Keith Goldmans, the Nannans, the Tylers that I looked up to. And then there's a whole generation that grew up where I was their Lego daddy, for lack of better term. And then like the now, like some of the kids that are my kids that are now leading the next generation. So like, I don't know if you guys realize, but it's always Father's Day at Chicago. That is Labor Day weekend. So what they've kind of started getting me every year is like they get me a Father's Day card every year with the folks.
I'm sorry, I was trying to get you on the big screen.
Yeah, but it's too sappy to read, and I don't want to get teared up.
But, that's awesome.
Yeah, so especially unfortunately my father passed away last year, like about a month and a half before Chicago. So like the one I got last year was very special and completely made me break down in tears, because a lot of people see me as like a fatherly figure for a lot of things in the community, and like the approach that we do, and I'm seeing that approach progress into the next level, and seeing how like I remember doing this for this person and this person does it to like someone else, like just that's the true award I feel like that we get doing a lot of this stuff. And like the community is so weird, and like the fact that like I can see the lineage of like some of the OG spacers, like the fact that like I now hang out with Adrian Drake, and I met like Chris Giddens, and like the people that I looked up to, and then me, and then the people under me, and then now there's new kids that look up to them. It's just it's cool. It's neat.
What's nice nice to feel like you've left your mark behind. Like inspired people, right? Like we get that a lot with Lego Masters stuff, just people saying, I really appreciated watching you, really inspired me this way or that way, and that's always very fulfilling, you know.
One thing that's really drawn me to the I don't join a lot of things, but one thing that really has drawn me about the Lego community is when people have this experience that they've spent so much time on, like how do you figure out how to make that train work? How do you figure out how to make something that's 10 feet tall and not have it fall down? I find by and large, people aren't possessive about it. It's like, yes, I want to tell you how to do this and you can do it too.
Yes.
And people build on one another's experience in that way. I think it's a very sharing community.
Right. And I feel like Sorry,
real quick, I want to build on top of what you said right there, Richard, because you mentioned earlier, Simon, how, you know, anybody could join in so long as they fit this criteria. And as somebody on the outside, you know, I'm not building crazy stuff, right? But knowing that there's somebody who is not a part of any lug or any community or anything can look at it and be like, all right, as long as I adhere to this, then I can jump in and be part of it. That is super cool. And real quick before I have to bounce out, unfortunately, a side tangent question I wanted to ask pertaining to the whole layout, since it's so built up and it's really one chunk of city, like you know, there's the highest point and then the smaller buildings around it. How do you, because since it's going to get bigger, it has to, right? Do you make another secondary city on the side with the bridge going to somewhere else with a different vibe to it? Or how do you build upon this new Hashima without just like, I don't know, making it one bigger chunk? Is that something you've thought of?
Yeah, so effectively, height-wise, for certain sections, it's kind of maxed out. I really don't.
Right.
We can't go any higher without. It's just at that point stupid for stupid's sake, which, to be fair, that's also, I think, kind of our model. So maybe we'll just go higher. But essentially, I think the idea is we would just create new sectors. So each one is in like I'm sector 6, and then we've already, like, the Brick Fair is already a new sector, and then Brick of Bavaria. So like we're just gonna build it out. We might reuse some of the assets, but the idea is we'll build a new footprint. So like the new infrastructure person would redesign it so that we can reuse some of the modules. We have a grand plan of at some point putting it all back together. So if ever a museum has enough money to pay for our time and effort and travel to do that, great. I wouldn't be surprised. Like I say 10 years, I think Stefan thinks 5 years, but we could reuse those tables and do another triangular fashion and just do something else. But
listen, all it takes is one oil baron, like $5 million, put it in a museum, call it a day, pay you all out equally, and just do something else. Then do like a medieval castle, old Hashima. There's your idea. Take it.
Like that's an interesting point. Is that we thought about what other collabs we could do that would be that enticing, and sure, we could do a giant castle. It'd be great, but there's something about cyberpunk that just makes it so interesting because it's the lighting, it's the kind of like the little stories you can tell. It just, as much as like I like other sci-fis, like I could do a giant moon base. It could be like inside like an asteroid, but it wouldn't have that. Like there's something weird about cyberpunk that lends itself to a color, lighting, movement, but at the same time like a bit of like fun. And just
it's very iconic too, right? Like, like at a distance, and even like coming close up, I felt like I was watching a scene from Blade Runner. Like it's got that,
or Ninjago if you're a kid, which is fine.
Yeah. No, I'm an old man, so for me it was Blade Runner.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that was we actually had required watchings for folks too that might not know the cyberpunk vibe, and that was on it.
Yeah. And so like Gary Smith says, welcome to the old folks group. Next year, you can be invited for Matlock collab.
And Simon, thank you for placing Crystal and Amy DD's minifigures in the Cyberpunk City.
For sure.
That was their challenge build. Cool. They were very excited that when they found those figures in there.
I do unfortunately have to bounce out, but
all right.
Wanted to say thank you. And
thanks, Brian.
I will be lurking in the chat and around. Pleasure seeing all of you at Chicago and virtually again. Best of luck with ye old Hashima, Simon. I look forward to seeing the collaboration in 2030.
I hope you wash the penguin suit out, Brian.
The penguin suit's at the ready. No, Bye.
Bye, Brian.
Bye, Brian. Hope his feet feel better.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, that was it was definitely it was a sight to see and something I don't think I'll ever see again. I would love to see something on that level, like if I was to pick another theme like you were just talking about, I'd love to see a steampunk city on that.
That could work, because the one thing I felt like we were lacking a bit was motion. And steampunk, like the Eurobricks did a pretty good steampunk collab 9-8 years ago, but like
time to come back around,
because the thing is you could get the same lighting, which is important. It wouldn't be as flashy lighting, like colorful lighting, but like it would still be like lanterns and such. And
well, you could do a lot with lights, and you could do a lot with movement,
motion.
And I think you could do interesting things with video that would make it look oldie timey. But yeah, if you decide to do it, just pencil me in for a cube, because
the other concern about movement is that if something breaks, it's very hard to fix.
Once
it's all in there. So like we had one of the coolest things was this moving elevator that went up and down, and like it was just gorgeous because like it went slow, like it was just so.
That was the Akira elevator, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah. But the chain broke, and there's no way to get in there when there's like 3 other stacked on top.
I think that is one thing about motion with Lego is Lego machines break.
Yeah.
You got to babysit them a little bit. They're not glued together. They're not bolted together. It's all just sort of pressure fit. So, and we saw one of the largest, is it the largest great ball contraption in the world?
I think so. By length or by.
Yeah, a huge great ball contraption at Chicago. And I think they break records every year with it. But they said if you have one jam every hour, from every module, basically you're fixing something every minute, or every few seconds, something somewhere breaks. So I understand your reticence to have large moving pieces, especially if you have a mock with tall towers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that was actually a concern we had with the train, the vibration of the train going along, and we reinforced it a lot. And like some of the large towers, we were somewhat concerned whether or not that would actually have an impact over a whole weekend. Thankfully, nothing fell apart, but that was a concern because like the train would rattle somewhat as it goes through. That repeated motion, will that cause anything to actually fail?
Well, I definitely want to. And part of my wanting to do steampunk is motivated by the fact that I have all these gold balloon parts I'm dying to use for something.
Did you buy the 2-cent gold pieces back from like the COVID era where they had the pricing error?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like I think you
bananas.
should consider it. So as we were talking about about how in the community we share a lot of our secrets and stuff. Like I feel like some other communities are kind of like they don't like to share, which I've always thought. I assumed everyone's like Lego community. So I did post the instructions on how to build a cube. So I think Trixie Bricks should do a steampunk thing and just do it next year and say who wants to join.
Yeah, Fourth World Adam makes a point too. Bricks Cascade's pretty desperate for steampunk entries, so there's a need there as well.
Yeah, I think Fourth World Adam's demands will not be met though. If you read the
demand,
I've got something to work on.
Yeah, it's also a genre I've always been fascinated with and wanted to build in and just haven't done it yet. So and I love anything like Victorian, Art Deco, any kind of like, architectural style like that. It makes me very happy.
What I am working on right now and designing, it falls into that category. So I'm here for it.
Very good.
I'm building an airship. It's just not steampunk. So
I did want to show. I do have a couple of other things I wanted to show. So everybody, I'm sure everybody here in the chat knows Monica Berry. She is always hanging out with us. Has been here a long time, and she did an amazing building that I wanted to show.
I gotta get her token because it is one of the best.
Yeah,
it's highly representative.
Really fantastic. Now this is like a family tree, basically. Is that right, Monica? She's in the chat. I'm sure she can.
She told me that the white lines show family connections between all of these people.
That's crazy.
And the black lines show people in the family who've passed away. So it's a huge amount of genealogical research went into this. From both her family and her husband's family.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, really amazing.
And there's Monica Berry right there with the berry on.
Yeah. She did say she had her biggest trouble was getting enough minifigures with glasses.
Oh yes. that would definitely be a thing.
The pain is real.
There is. Let's see. There's also another. Oh, I had another video up. Whoops. Sorry. I took quite a few videos, and getting everything to show up on my computer has been an interesting prospect. So just trying to get everything up here. So this was a really beautiful build. This actually took, I believe, Best Medieval Building. No, Best Medieval Building was that little one that we saw in Texas. Was really, really incredible. We showed it on the show. Let me see here if I can get this one up.
Well, they have castle categories at Chicago. Is that what you meant?
The what now?
Well, they have castle categories at Chicago.
They had medieval building. Was what they had. That was
so basically castle.
This was really, really beautiful. Loved checking this out.
This was Vanity Fair, right?
Yeah, it was called Vanity Fair, and just really, really excellently done. And I saw them taking it apart later, and it's always painful watching people take it out or take their stuff down, especially if it's the last ride of that particular mock, like our castle.
Yeah,
that just
time we were going to do it, so it was like, just throw it in the bag.
One interesting thing I noticed about this particular builder or group of builders, as far as technique, you'll notice it on the bottom right. So instead of building pathways, like we've built sidewalks for our TrickyLUG neighborhoods, they actually just laid out round tiles in a tumble. They're not attached to anything, but they formed pathways from one building to the next. And it was an interesting technique.
That was siblings, I believe. 5 siblings, I think.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And anybody was able to see the Bionicle Dragon? That is now dead. It died in transit. It's gone.
Oh, no.
So I'm thankful that, well, it was time. It's been to all the conventions, so it's time to tear it down and start over. But yeah, it suffered a catastrophic failure on the ride back.
Oh, that's disappointing. Oh, hey, this one was really cool. This one also got a lot of attention. This jazz club.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Really, really cool. And so this was like the Miniland figures, like you were talking about, and it had a little soundtrack and everything. It was great.
There really does seem to be a trend towards Miniland building that I haven't seen.
Did you notice that as well?
That was a husband.
There was a. Did you see the Miniland habitat that someone had put up?
No.
So what they did is they took a standard habitat, scaled it up to Miniland scale, and it was on the corner across from the Masters area. But it told the entire story of Al Capone in Chicago in the 1920s.
Oh, that's awesome!
Very, very well done.
That's super cool. Oh, here's another little video here. This was a Wizard of Oz piece that was really cool.
Yeah,
and it rotated and had all the different parts of the story. Yeah.
So how did I miss that?
Oh, it was over on
over near the wall.
Wow. Yeah, towards the lab, but not quite against the wall.
Yeah, so one hint I would give everybody who plans on attending Chicago. If you're the type of person who's always saying, "Oh, I didn't see everything. I didn't have time to go around," what you should do is be in the convention hall at 7:30 in the morning, because there will maybe be 20 people in the entire hall.
Oh yeah,
and you can take the peaceful time to efficiently walk around and see everything without a crowd or noise.
Well, I actually
did that. Or conversely, stay up till 3 or 4 a.m. and you can do the same thing.
Yeah, I love that they keep it open 24 hours.
Sure, but you won't be. I was saying early morning, I find my attention is more focused than if I've spent an entire day crushing through the convention.
Right.
So
I went up early Saturday.
The auction
wandered.
I'm with you, Simon. I would be much better off staying up late to go see it all than trying to get up at 7.
Exactly. Like one of my favorite things used to be like have a drink and do the long walk with folks, because there's always someone around. It's peaceful, it's quiet, and then you can like just stroll around. Didn't really get a chance this year for kind of obvious reasons, but like that used to be like one of my favorite things to do. A bit, or if not, I was sleeping.
Just a little busy.
Yeah, like I don't go to the auction.
That other picture of the horse.
Oh yeah, so here, sorry, this is kind of coming back to this. Let me see. Why does it do that?
Kind of low res?
No, it's not. My photos sometimes come in, like the previews come in low res, and then you have to like close it and open it again, and it's always something. It's always something. But I do have another shot of the horse, the Black Falcon horse. Now, the one I showed before was kind of more a picture of the builder, and you could see the front of the horse. But this one is really like quite exceptional. What did you think of this one, Simon? Did you see the horse?
Yeah, I think you mentioned about stop dead in your tracks. Like in my mind, there were 2 that. Also because they happened to be walking towards where I need to go, but like, yeah, I never did get to meet the gentleman, but like that is utterly impressive. Just could like I did not know the person, but like when I saw like especially because if you remember, he set up really early. Yeah. So like that entire section was completely empty, and all you see is this one giant horse, and like That's impressive. The other one was Zane Houston, who did the mechs. And like he set that up. Like I remember walking by, he had the Pikachu one set up.
So
and I was like,
Simon,
really,
he lives 10 minutes from me. We didn't know, and we are recruiting that guy hard.
Thank you.
He came out of nowhere.
Well, no, he did come out of nowhere. He's been around for 10 plus years. This is just the first time he's gone to the convention. So back in the day, I ran a contest on Eurobricks. I think it was like Forbidden Animal Planet, which, if you know me, actually is super exactly what I now do. Is like you had to build a mech for an animal. And this was like the first time he did, and he did this great gorilla thing, and he won the. I sent him a trophy, and apparently, and I completely forgot about this until he reminded me. I wrote a good. I think it was like a business card or some sort of card that was like good for one free beer at Chicago, and he held on to this for like a year. He didn't know where it was. He didn't bring it, so I didn't actually get to reclaim it. But like this is like 10 years ago, so like he's been around for a while. He builds on and off, but like this is the first time he actually showed up at convention, and like I knew he was in Denver. I think I tried to get him and Imagine to kind of like hook up at one point to head out, but like that didn't happen. But he needs some like support and help, and just
he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it.
Could you imagine the next level with if he got like lug bulk or lug support, like the only. Yeah. I will never win another best mecha ever again, unfortunately.
Yeah, he literally lives in my town, Lakewood, Colorado.
That's amazing.
It's incredible.
So I'm curious, like, even though like it was exhausting for all of us and everything, I left completely inspired and ready to work on the next thing. I know, Simon, you might be not quite there yet, but I'm curious from everybody who's here now, like, did you get inspired, and what's your next project? Like, what are you working on like post Chicago? Moto?
Well, we had privately talked about this, but you guys are birders, right? Do you know what a big year is in birding?
A what?
A big year in birding culture?
Sure, go ahead.
I saw the movie.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a big year. I'm going to put every resource and every focus of my attention into reconstituting my 7.5 foot tall Technic spaceship. I got to get that thing together.
Very good.
Nice. Might I add a suggestion? Don't just focus on that. Throw in other things to break it up. As someone who has literally spent an entire year on one thing, it is grueling. Break it up. Have some additional fun things to do. Take the breaks.
Yeah, you gotta have some.
In order to complete it, I do need a full year. So it was your mindful discipline that has influenced me to go ahead and just take the.
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
You're too close to it, man. I'll be like you next year, but for now.
But you gotta have your short-term goals, because I had the same experience. You have to have some small things that you can accomplish, because that way, when you hit a wall or you just get burned out or whatever on your big build, just doing something you can do in like a weekend or something here and there kind of keeps the juices flowing.
I'm breaking it into 2 and 3 months chunks because it requires modular, large scale assembly type solutions.
I'm not good at building stuff over a weekend.
I can't do a weekend, but I can definitely do focus bursts of like 200 hours at a shot.
Wow.
Yeah.
So well, Randall, that's what I'm planning on doing.
Randall,
I'm good at starting things and not finishing.
Richard?
Randall, you made that Chicago sign. What's next up for you?
I have like post-it notes I'm looking at for stuff. So I'm going to. I always wanted to make a Santa Claus mech. I met Blackley Cat down in Australia. He makes a lot of mechs. I forget his name, his government name, but he gave me a lot of tips. So that's one of them. Also been working on this forever, like a Mega Man X, like X Buster.
Ooh.
You're like, some of y'all like, what is that? Moto knows, I think. I already made the frame like a while ago. So like,
oh dear God, yes.
Yeah.
I see where you're going.
It's big. Yeah. So like, something you can put your hand in and actually, handle. So
wow.
Those and then
Randall's going wearable, and I approve.
Thank you.
100%.
You inspire me.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And then there's a third thing, like I'm calling it like the ruins of Rhythmaria, basically like an island full of musical instruments, stuff like that, like made out of wood or stone or whatever. You remember those minifigs that were kind of like, they had, I don't know where they are right now, but there is one of the, I mean, maybe series 20 or something like that. They had like a head thing and they had face paint on them. They're like yellow and turquoise. You got a whole bunch of those. I'm gonna populate it with that. So yeah.
Cool. Are you driven to build big, or was that just for the Chicago sign?
After the Chicago sign, like Simon said, I want to do some smaller things. So I'm probably gonna do that. The Chicago sign took 14 months. So hey, I can't do that. I can't do another thing like that again. Not for an immediate future anyway.
Well, we've taken a long time between extra large builds. Like that castle was the biggest thing. Well, yeah, since Billund, which was huge.
How about you, Dawn?
I'm getting inspired by the next Tricky Brick collab. I've actually been going through parts ideas and ideas of things to put together, but it's like I don't have the parts I need, even close to what I need for it. But that's a big thing. And I've got a couple different sections I'm thinking. I'm thinking one is going to go Duplo because I love the Duplo elements. So I think one section may be going Duplo and is going system. But I've also got a couple other things that are kind of swirling around on the back burner that I don't have anything concrete down, but there's always something. And I want to expand on the bathymetric map that I did of Lake Michigan. I think I want to do all 5 Great Lakes. So
well, that was really beautiful, and I love pieces that incorporate science.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so that one I just got the last of the parts like 2 weeks before Brickworld. They finally came because they were coming from Billund, and I was like, if it didn't come, that wasn't going to get built. You know, I mean, it was started, and then I had to pause and wait for parts, and so I was glad I was able to get it done. It really, since I live on the other side of Lake Michigan from Chicago, it kind of ties in. You know, a very big part of West Michigan is Lake Michigan. So, you know, we are the Great Lake state because we border 4 of the 5 Great Lakes. So that's kind of one of the things I'm thinking about.
Cool.
Dawn, I will join you on that Duplo journey for the collab. That sounds awesome.
I'm here for a Duplo collab.
Animals,
yeah,
and fish and all the different stuff, and I'm looking at what's available and what might show up with the black light and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of like, I've got all kinds of. I have bigger ideas than Pocketbook.
Let's do this together.
That's always the way. That's always the way. What about you, Cara?
So yeah, definitely very inspired. My major project for the next couple, 3-4 months is what I'm calling the season of sorting, because it's out of control. It needs to be sorted, needs to be put away. Things need to be taken apart. And then after that, I want to focus on the TrickyLUG collab. Also, Baylug is doing Once Upon a Time collab for next year. So I want to build something for that. And then continuing on with my wearables, I want to decorate the red dots lamellar armor with a whole bunch of, dots and tiles, macaroni tiles and things like that. Finish my chainmail when I get all those rings in the next month or 2. So yeah, lots of cool projects in the works.
Nice. What about you, Simon?
So
resting?
Taking a nap?
No. Because I drive to Chicago every time, that's like a 9-10 hour drive back, depending on traffic and this and that. And it's so much time to reflect and think about because you're always so energized despite that. And this goes back. I'll tell you a story about the first Chicago I went to. I was driving back with Dick Delamora. I don't know if you know him. He's kind of a big deal now, but we were in the same car, and that is still my first post-convention experience of the, oh my God, so many ideas. And I still vividly remember, we spent the entire time plotting about how to do the Gudrick thing, where I wanted to build, instead of so Arthur Gudrick, who passed away, which is why we named after him, he placed all these little black scorpions on everyone. That's one of like the first tokens of appreciation at Brickworld, and that's where like no, I want to do it, but do it better, because I was young, I was cocky, so I wanted to do a build, and that's where we started all that. Where it was like, what is the cutest thing I could shove into something very Simony, which was a spaceship at the time, where I made that frog pod and did all that, but like that was hatched in its entirety in that car ride. That said, I didn't have a co-pilot this year, so it was a lot of me mentally just thinking what to do. But like the irony is, like, I don't want to do Cyberpunk anymore, but other people want to do it. So already like Brick Fair people, the Germans are all like, we got to do it over here. And then like I know the UK Manchester folks are like they've wanted to do this, so like now figuring out, okay, how do we do the cube but more collapsible and transportable? So there's that aspect, and then like more of my usual collaborators, which I've completely ignored with the entire year. Like we've got like 2 or 3 going already, so like there's definitely a lot of it. And like back to my personal products, like kind of like Moto said, like it's good to have that, but like for me, I have a lot. I think I'm still trying to unpack my car and do assessment on what is left. I'm bad, yeah. So like I'll take like a load a day, and like I'm almost there. I'm just trying to get like my recap post of all my things that I got, but like the reassembling that. Do I have it handy?
Well, also you have to get over your con crud too before you.
That I do. Oh, I spent like an hour plus reassembling this last night. Which
I love that section.
It was the graffiti section, which is literally all like done on. Most of it was designed previously, but built on site. It was missing a lot of stuff, and it is literally just taped on the back at this point, because it is. I don't know how they got this on the layout without like breaking, because like it's not connected from top or the bottom. Like I don't know how this worked. Like. So like,
you know what that is? It's your section of a Berlin Wall in Legos.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And like so I was very happy to get that. I joked about the lack of the tokens, but in reality, like I did get a lot of stuff from folks. I'll do another quick shout out because I think it's absolutely hilarious. So Chris Roberts, he is also one of the Brick Nerd contributors. So we were asked to build Nerdlies. He made this for us, which was the Cube Nerdly, which is based off of the cubes that we all built for Hashima. And like this is absolutely adorable and such. But yes, lots of stuff coming this year, and I think unlike previous, like last year, like if you actually look at my socials and stuff, like I basically posted nothing. I occasionally posted something when I had to take a break from building gray things and build something colorful, build a car here and there. But like hopefully this year will be a lot more actually active things. And yeah,
very cool.
I look forward to going back to normal.
Well, we're picking up a project that we started before Lego Masters happened.
Oh.
And we've been talking about it for a long time, but we like pulled it out, dusted it all off, and we're gonna get back to work on that. It's gonna be another like multi EV3 brained mechanical something
storytelling
thing.
Oh, so. Awesome.
Going back to our roots.
And Holly, do you have mocks that are just calling to you? You mentioned you're into Duplo.
Yeah, I would do something like that for a collab, like just because I have a lot of great parts and inventory that I could kind of build whatever. And I have always enjoyed, Duplo is really fun to work with because you can get far and fast, so that's always good. But nope, I'm in design mode. I've pulled out the designer and the studio designer, and that usually is what gets me going. As long as I can get to a halfway point with a digital design where if I get to the halfway point and I'm still jazzed about it, then I keep going. It's getting to the halfway point that's challenging for me.
Very good. Yeah, Jake Sadovich says, likewise, looking over some shelved projects to see if I can finish some off. Exactly.
Nice.
Come back around. Well, it's funny too, because I was telling Richard with this project, this new one we've got coming up, I thought we did a really good job. It was like it was just post Snake Queen, and I thought we did a really good job of kind of trying to go up another level from that. But in the ensuing 3 years since we left the project behind, we've been on Lego Masters, we've been in the Lego house, our building has improved.
We've worked on our skills
massively, and so I'm really excited to revisit it and see how 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 we can make it, to
Nice.
To the next level. So I'm excited about that. Well, friends, I think we're going to wrap it up for today. Thanks everybody so much for coming. We're going to do fave minifigs here before we go. Sorry, Simon, I didn't tell you. We usually do little favorite minifigs at the end, or if you have a favorite token or something that you got that you'd like to show, do that. We'll start off with Holly.
Oh, okay. I've got this one handy. It's one of my favorites.
Oh, cool. That's so cool.
Ninjago set. And I got this specifically to put back for a Kubo mock.
Yep.
I can use her for a sister.
Very good.
So she's sitting on my desk for inspiration.
Kara.
All right. So this is a Citizen Brick special that I got recently. Gaze upon the visible man. Ew,
that's
gross.
So cool.
Take him out of the packaging.
I didn't see them when we were there. I would have
No,
totally
it was a limited edition. They sold out really quickly during Citizen Brick Day. So he got these translucent minifigs and painted.
It's so good.
Printed the musculoskeletal system, guts, and everything.
Must have.
Yeah, this was pretty incredible. I'm really grateful that I was able to pick it up.
Nice. All right, Dawn, do you have a little something to share?
I do. I was trying to decide. I'm going to do this one, which is actually, I use this in a build. It's actually my mom.
Oh, nice.
She was an artist. And so this was actually in the picture that I did of her, a self-portrait she painted, and I recreated it in Lego. So this is her.
Nice.
And then there's from the torso up, is another copy of it where she's in a mirror of herself painting her self-portrait. So
that's great.
Cool. I was sitting right here on the shelf because I'm not in my room, my build room, so I don't have anything handy.
That was a nice mock. I remember that one.
It's Mom.
Randall.
Crystal gave me this pen.
Nice.
That's a good pen.
That's awesome.
That's a good one. Yep.
So,
very cool.
Yeah, this is like a crown jewel in my pen collection. So
oh yes,
it was fun spending time with Crystal and Amy.
It was.
Yeah, it was great meeting her.
Yes.
That's the first time I met her.
Oh yeah, they were like among our closer friends when we were on the show, and we got to hang out with them, and it was like old times. It was so much fun. We had a great time. Moto.
Yeah, I had I think I counted 53 different tokens, but this one's pretty cool. I'm having a hard time choosing between them. But Bricks O'Brien stuck his minifigure in the dragon's chest.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like it was piloting it, and I took it out and made him get eaten by the other dragon. So
that's awesome. Very good.
Yeah, from what I understand, there's not many of these left, so I really appreciate that he gave me his sig fig.
Cool. Simon.
So this is apparently my sig fig. One of the guys at New Hashima asked for all our pictures and made figs of us to stick in one of the strip clubs. He normally holds a Mountain Dew container because of the running gag of chugging Mountain Dew. The irony is I don't actually really like Mountain Dew, but I drank one in the previous Beyond the Brick video. And if you watch the 2.5 hour video this year, wait till the end. There's a surprise there. So I think he will need an upgrade to the new Hashima.
Oh man!
So one of the things we had Victor do was create a torso print of our jersey, so everyone got one based on which area they built it. So shout out to Victor. Like again, like we spared no expense for all of the new Hashima. Like we're never gonna do anything this crazy again. So like the jersey, a minifig to go with the jersey. It's just it was definitely a probably won't see something like this for many while. So I'm glad all of you got to see it.
It was definitely it was special for sure. Oh, look at that! Sorry, our white balance.
Now in uniform.
What was that?
It's now in uniform.
There we go.
That's so good. Matchy match. Okay, so ours. Well, I'll let you go first, honey.
Okay, I got this mouse guard.
Oh yeah, you must have seen Guy.
Yes, we did from Crazy Bricks. I've been wanting a mouse guard forever, and he's been sold out for a really, really long time. Every time I would see him.
Yep, they were super friendly.
Yeah, that was really cool. Okay, so mine is this was like my favorite thing I got. Like I got a lot of really cool tokens, but this one really took the cake. So this was from Sam Hatmaker.
Oh boy, I think I know what it is.
Oh yeah, you know it.
Demon Goat.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Black Phillip.
Amazing.
So yeah, it was really cool. So he had put one on the TrickyLUG display, and I was like, oh my god, Black Phillip. And he's like, yes, how did you know it's Black Phillip? He's like, I've got one more right here. So he gave it to me, and I put it right in the front of our build with our villain. So yeah, and do not worry, no actual Lego goats were harmed in the making of the demon goat. So you don't have to worry. Nobody, no one will be shorted a goat because of that. But
except for his mock, I think.
Yeah, I think he had this. Sam had an amazing Baba Yaga mock that was a total play set, and he opened it up and he was like giving tours of it, and all the kids were super excited. It was great. It was really, really cool. So did I get everybody? Did I get everyone? I think so. Yes. All right. Well, gosh, thanks everybody so much for coming and hanging out with us today. Thank you, Randall. Thank you, Dawn, for coming and hanging out. And Simon, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely. I'm sure you've talked about this a lot, and I appreciate you coming back and talking about it some more with us.
But it's more fun when I talk to you guys.
Yeah. Well, it was it really was quite an accomplishment, and anybody who is seeing it on video or through pictures and stuff, like, yes, it's just as amazing as it looks in photos, and I would say even more so. Like it, because as we always say, especially with really large Lego things, you just cannot get a full appreciation of what it's like just seeing pictures or video. Like it was definitely a once in a lifetime experience in person situation. So thank you for that.
Before we go, I want to give a big shout out to all the members of TrickyLUG who we got to hang out with and meet in person. That was really special. We went out and had lunch together.
Yes.
There was lots of people displaying, and I look forward to a new year of a lot of TrickyLUG collaborative display.
And we are going to show I do have video of the TrickyLUG display. The problem is it was apparently like, I don't know, multi so big that I couldn't email it to myself to show. So I have to work on compressing it down, and then we will show that on the next show when we get together next time. So don't forget, we are not here next week. We will be camping, but I encourage all of you to enjoy the exciting holiday weekend that's soon to be upon us. Yeah, 4th of July, which is a Tuesday this year. It's very strange. I'm not quite sure how they're working.
Canada Day, woo!
Yeah.
July 1st.
So anyway, thanks again so much for joining us, and until next time, which will be 2 weeks from today, don't forget to stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, wear your mask when and where you still need to, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Happy building.
Bye.
Bye.
I almost couldn't find it.
It's been a while.